What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Bass Fishing Live. We have a great show for you guys tonight. We have Bassmaster Kayak Series. Jake, I hope I say his name right, Jake Coucoules, coming on. He'll be on in about 10, 15 minutes. I'm going to get this thing shared, get it rolling, and we'll go from there. But we have a great show for you guys. And I'm also going to give people time to join as well as we get this thing rolling. So a lot going on in the bass fishing world, as I kind of always say. Right now we have Red Crest going on. That started today. I'm sorry. Red Crest starts today currently, and I'm going to bring up the stats here shortly. Michael Neal, which has been an absolute hammer in the fishing industry, in the tournament series industry for quite some time. He currently holds the lead. Something I also want to talk about, Kevin Van Dam. I know he has officially retired. Some people are a little confused. We made a post yesterday. People were confused about him being retired and then fishing Red Crest, so we're going to go into that as well. But we have a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to try to get it all, most of it, about the bass fishing, Red Crest. Also, the Classic starts in 7 days. We'll try to fit all that into the next 10 minutes. And then I'm going to get this thing shared as I talk to you guys. And then we're going to bring Jake on. Jake should be here around 8:10, 8:15. He's going to join us. And then we're going to talk about his experience at Lake Murray. He had a great tournament, ended up winning his first Kayak Series tournament with Bassmaster. And then a lot of people, a lot of people have turned to kayak fishing, whether it's for bass or crappie or whatever, but it's a cheaper way to fish, and you can accomplish a lot out of a kayak. Now, me personally, I'm still going to fish out of my kayak. I am going to get a boat this year, and that way I can, venture out on these bigger lakes and that type of thing. But kayak fishing has really gained a lot of traction. It is probably one of the fastest growing sports, and specifically in bass fishing or the outdoors world. Kayaks are used for everything. In the outdoors, you've got people getting on lakes and traveling to places in kayaks and john boats too, to different spots that they want to hunt, which I think is great. And then you got guys like me that just like to take a kayak out and go fishing. So big show tonight. I'm very, very excited to talk with Jake and kind of just discuss everything. So just bear with me. I've almost got this thing shared to all the groups I need to share it to. Sometimes it just takes a little time. But if you're just joining us, you're just getting on here, please, if you can, in the comment section, as I can see here, here we go, Butler. So Scott Butler, thank you for joining us tonight. If you're just joining us, right here, I'll pull it up on the screen. You can see that in the bottom left corner there, it says Facebook user. So if you're watching from one of our groups, you're going to show up as a Facebook user. Please type your name in. I'm going to bring this camera down just a little bit. Right there. Type your name out beside when you comment, because if it shows up as Facebook user, I don't know who you are. So let me know where you guys are watching from. I love to know where people are watching from across the nation. This is the best bass fishing podcast around. But I'm just kidding. We're working on it. We're trying to get better. So I want to know where you're watching from. Let me know in the comment section over there. Let me know. And also, if you what home lake you're fishing, what home lake you're currently fishing. But while you're doing that, I'm almost done sharing this thing. Almost have it. And we'll get rolling right into it with everything that is going on. Let's see. Scott Butler said, I got a buddy that I think fishes some kind of kayak series. I'm wanting to say South Carolina. Yeah, so the great thing about kayak series, one reason they're getting so much traction is, one, they're cheap. They're a much cheaper way to fish than buying a boat. Everybody, if you can afford a boat, that's great. Like I said, I plan on getting one soon. soon as my house is done being built. But I fished out of a kayak for the last since I joined the Army, so almost 10 years ago. Almost 10 years ago is when I first got into it. It was popular, but not nearly as much as it is now. And man, you can go anywhere in a kayak, especially if you have like a pedal drive kayak. That is extremely helpful to have. And I don't have one. I don't have the foot driven kayaks. I do not have one, but I go a lot of places, when I'm in my kayak. And the great thing about it is you can go places where other people absolutely cannot go. There's boats. I've been to lakes. Boats cannot get where I'm going, and I slay the fish. I just wish I could get there in a boat, because one day I'm going to fish tournaments one of these days, and unfortunately I won't be able to get to those spots. So I got a few more groups just shared. It takes me a minute, and John is supposed to be here with me tonight. I talked to him all day today. He's supposed to be here helping me get this show started as I share it, because it makes it much easier. And John is not here. I don't know where he's at. I've tried texting him, tried calling him. What you got to say about that, Scott? I know you always give John a hard time. Where do you think John's at right now? I bet he just texted me. He said he is on his way. So, yeah, we got a lot going on. I would assume John fell asleep. I'm going to get this pulled up for you real quick. So, let's see. I'm going to share this with you. So right here, as you can see, Kevin Van Dam has returned to MLF for Red Crest. So a lot of people are curious, and you can read right here as I'm talking along. This is our bass fishing newsletter. If you haven't checked out our newsletter yet, we release it every Thursday. We put it out. So, for instance, we've got KVD story here. We did a small story on a 13-pound largemouth, broke a junior record. I think it was caught in Oklahoma, I think. Yep, Oklahoma. So, we do a lot of stuff. We've got KVD story on here. We talk about Red Crest coming up, the baits that we're currently using. A lot of people love to know what baits are being used. For instance, on I'm trying to think of where they just fished. Kentucky Lake, down in my neck of the woods. You see right there, Kentucky Lake, the winning patterns on Kentucky Lake. Jake Lawrence, he was on the show a couple of weeks ago, and great guy. He is just getting started, man. He's been tournament fishing for a long time, but he is just getting started with trying to make, I guess, the Bass Pro Tour, and he is a absolute hammer. Went on the next week, or maybe 2 weeks after a show, and won the BFL there, or no, the Toyota Series. I'm sorry, the Toyota Series. There's the man, Matt Robertson. So, yeah, it just gives you good insight on what people are using, how they're using it, things of that nature. And John, yep, I'm retiring so I can read more of this newsletter. So we'd appreciate it if you can go to our page and check out the newsletter. Definitely look at it. But this right here is exactly the guy I'm wanting to talk about. So everybody, the other day I made a post and I said, arguably the GOAT of bass fishing is Jacob Wheeler, because Jacob Wheeler is obviously probably the best right now in Major League Fishing. And the fishing industry, just bass fishing in general. And I got a lot of feedback saying, no, he's not. KVD is. And I do agree. I absolutely agree that KVD is the GOAT. He is the man. And he's returned. He's returned for Red Crest. So if you're confused about that at all, Red Crest is the classic of Major League Fishing. It's their Super Bowl of fishing. And KVD qualified for it last year. So he is not fishing the Bass Pro Tour anymore. And I think he's actually going on the Mercer podcast here soon to release the news that he has been keeping very hidden away from us. So, yeah, I'm excited to hear about it. And then he's back for Red Crest. So I would love to go see him win. Unfortunately, he is next to last place right now. As I told you all, Michael Neal's in first, and KVD is unfortunately in last, or next to last. But it's looking good. So Jacob, you got Michael Neal, Dalton Head, Anthony Gagliardi, Dustin Connell, Ryan Salzman, Jacob Wheeler, Ron Nelson, Cole Floyd, Keith Poche, Keith Poche, man. I know last year he fished both Bassmaster and he fished MLF, ended up with the MLF trophy, and then went like the next day after winning that and fished in a Bassmaster Elite Series event. And it could have even been the Classic. Yeah, it was. It was the Classic because me and John went. And he actually did well. He did really well fishing both sides last year. So that's kind of what we got going on. I know John said he's going to be here shortly. We're going to get him on, and then we'll bring Jake on here very shortly. So if you're just getting with us, make sure you share in the comment section where you're watching from. I know I've seen Dustin, Mountainside Outdoors. Thank you for watching. He is here from West Virginia. What lakes are you fishing up in West Virginia, Dustin? We got Josh Wilson. Josh is a loyal follower. Every time I post something, Josh is one of the first guys to like one of our things or comment. So, Josh, we really appreciate you always coming on and just interacting with our posts. And Mountainside said they do a lot. There he is.
There. I was sitting here asleep.
Did you fall asleep?
I was asleep.
I knew it. I knew you fell asleep.
I woke up about 5 minutes ago and said, "Oh crap!"
Listen, I've been talking kind of about the newsletter. I had it pulled up earlier, just showing them about the newsletter that comes out every Thursday. We talked about KVD's return. Unfortunately, he's in next to last place today after the first day of Red Crest.
I don't know what happened.
He's unfortunately in last place, so not good. Not a good start. He'll have to have a huge day tomorrow to even make the cut. And then we just kind of talked about the top 10, and then the Classic starts a week after today. So it's a week.
Are you sitting on a normal chair?
I'm not. No, it's a little chair. Am I too low?
Hey, you just look like you're listening to a speech from your basketball coach. Like you're just like,
oh, that's great. That means so I'm like low.
Yeah. And
but you don't mind, we do a lot of go ahead and take over a little bit. We'll be bringing Jake on in about 2 minutes. We'll be bringing him on. And then I'm just trying to share it right now. I've had a hard time with you waking up late.
Hey, buddy. Some people got to work for a living. Let's see who we got here. Scott Butler's on here, unfortunately. Just kidding. Scott, I hope your knee's doing better. You're getting around. Let's see. I got a buddy that I think fishes some kind of kayak series. I'm wanting to say, we'll be wanting to get my kayak out some. Dustin from West Virginia. Josh Wilson's here. It's hard to retire. TB Brock. Do you know TB Brock? Somerset. Okay.
I do not. I don't. If he may have been on here before.
We know a lot of Brocks. I thought maybe you know.
We do. And hey, Scott sent me a video earlier up in his neck of the woods, and they had a water. Is it a spout or a water? Oh, what's it called?
I don't know. We're off to a rough start. Here's what I just got here. I literally made some food and sat here in this chair and was watching Suits on TV on Netflix. Anybody watch Suits? I just started it and I fell asleep. So get me caught up here. Let me know who we got watching, where you're watching from. I know TB Brock's from Somerset, Scott's from Northern Kentucky, Josh is from. I just forgot where Josh is from. Lincoln County. I was going to say Adair County.
Yeah.
Josh is from Lincoln County, Stanford, home to Cedar Creek. I don't know. I bet Josh Jenkins didn't know that was where Cedar Creek is. Anyway, and if you're watching, let us know. Let us know where you're watching from. Make sure you like the video, you share the video, you're talking to us. That's how this thing grows. On Tuesday nights, we have a show, and we primarily focus on hunting. And so this Tuesday, we talked about, we give things away. I have some turkey calls here that we give away. And it's a pretty good show. We usually have 30, 40, 50 people on. This show, we're trying to build it. We can't build a show without the people watching it. So help us out. Share it on your page. Tell your buddies. And hopefully it keeps getting better. Not quite where we want it to be, but we'll keep getting better every week.
Oh, yeah.
So let's see. TV Brock says, I heard that fish were biting on Cumberland today, no doubt. Yeah, I was actually getting ready to mention that it ended up being a tornado jumping the river. Yeah, I saw a video today where northern Kentucky had some severe storms, and there was a tornado that crossed the Ohio River up there. So scary if you're up that way. That no doubt that was scary, but it was a cool video. It was a really cool video. WO is here from Utica. I didn't know there was a Utica, Kentucky. WO's been catching some slabs out there at
WO messaged me at 7:00 and said that he just got forward facing sonar ordered for his big boat and his John boat. Both.
Man, we could have saved you 15% if you ordered it through Omnia. Yeah.
Yep, I'm good. I got this thing shared.
I know one thing, we're losing viewers, so
I got it shared.
Did you start the video tonight with a countdown video? Or
I did not. No, I didn't start with a countdown. I didn't have time to do all of it. I tried to last night.
Gotcha.
But I also try to make a countdown timer, but it takes some time.
Let's get this feller on here that's down here waiting on us. And let's
talk about to say, so
kayak fish. I'm not sure if his name JC. It looks like it's waiting on us.
So it's Jake, and I hope I say this right. Coucoules.
Probably didn't.
He is a Bassmaster Kayak Series angler. He just recently won an event on Lake Murray in the Kayak Series Championship. So we'll bring him on now.
How you spell his last name here? Hey, Jake, what's up?
How's it going, guys?
How are you?
I'm good, man. Thank you guys for having me on.
Jake, how do you say your last name?
Coucoules.
Okay, there you go. Plus, you weren't too far off.
Yeah. I think I said Coucoules is what I said.
Yeah.
Coucoules.
That's close enough.
Okay. So how's it going, man? Did you just get back from Lake Murray?
I got back I think like 2 weeks ago now. So everything's starting to settle in.
Is it? I was about to say, is the victory? Is it starting to? Are you actually starting to realize, like, is the shock of it already over, and realizing that you won a Bassmaster event?
Yeah, I'm definitely ready to get on to the next one at this point.
Yeah, where is the next one? Where's it at?
The next one's at Possum Kingdom. I won't be able to do that, but the next one I'll do will be Gunnersville in May.
Oh, okay. So did you qual? I know when me and John went down to the Classic at where was that, John, South Carolina?
It's
Hartwell.
Yep.
Lake Hartwell. Before they, I think it was on the second day before they did the weigh-ins, they brought the kayak anglers on and presented their trophies and their checks and everything. Do you now qualify? Like, is that a thing? You have to qualify to fish like the Kayak Series Championship?
Yeah, I qualified for the 2025 one.
Awesome.
So I'm really excited for that. I've never been to the Classic before. That's going to be awesome.
That's awesome. Oh, dude, you're going to love it.
Jake, how old are you?
26.
26. Jake, I thought you was probably like 19. What do you do when you're not fishing, Jake?
I'm a groundskeeper at a local college, so get to do all that fun stuff: cutting grass, weed whacking, taking
What's
care
the
of trees.
what college?
It's called RCBC. It's like a local community college.
And where is that? Where you live?
New Jersey, Mount
New
Laurel.
Jersey. Okay. So, yeah, man, I'm a community college grad. Actually, I don't think I ever graduated. I just transferred. So,
well, Jake, before we get into all the fishing stuff, we really like to get kind of, we like to get to know the anglers that we're talking to, stuff like that. So just give us kind of an introduction of you, where you're from, what you do, all that good stuff.
I'm from New Jersey. I'm a kayak angler. I mean, I've always loved bass fishing before I had a kayak or a car or anything like that.
So when did your love for bass fishing? How old were you when you first started fishing?
My uncle took me for the first time when I was 4, and I was hooked like immediately. Like, I caught my first fish on a jitterbug in a golf course pond.
Really?
Yeah, that was it. Once I seen that topwater explosion, oh man, that's all I ever wanted to do after was fish.
Right. Yeah, dude. We just posted Fred Arbogast just was inducted into the Hall of Fame, and he invented the jitterbug and all those. So I think that's awesome, dude. It really is, dude. I remember when I was younger, we would go golfing, and we ended up knowing a guy that was really he was kind of in charge. He wasn't in charge, like he didn't own the country club or anything like that, but he knew the people that did. He helped out a lot, and there was a big pond on it where we're from. We're from Harlan, Kentucky. We don't live there anymore, but I remember the pond. We'd see bass fishing or swimming all the time, dude. And I remember he asked me, he's like, "Hey, when we go golf this weekend, can we bring a fishing pole?" And we did. Dude, we caught some monster bass out of that lake. It was awesome. Little pond, I guess.
Oh yeah, them little golf course ponds are the best.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So what? Kind of to dig into the fishing a little bit. There's a lot of people. Kayak fishing is growing fast, like super fast. It's in the outdoors community. I would be willing to say that it's probably the fastest of between hunting, fishing. Kayak fishing specifically is growing really quick, and a lot of people that watch us too, they kayak fish. We already had somebody say, "Hey, we kayak fish a lot up in West Virginia." So, what kind of kayak are you running?
I have a Hobie Outback 12-foot.
What do you have you had what is it? The Mirage? Have you had a Mirage?
Yeah, I have the Mirage 180 drive.
Okay, well, how do you like the Outback compared to the Mirage?
Oh well, that's the drive, the Mirage. The Outback is the only Hobie that I've had. I had a old Ascend 12T, and I had like a 9.5-foot sitting kayak before that.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. The now is the Mirage, is it pedal drive?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your whole setup look like? So just in general, what is your whole setup? I know when watching the videos, I watched some videos of you at the Lake Murray event, and then I seen some other videos. I can't remember where it was at, and you were kind of going over your whole setup. What is your entire setup overall?
I have a Humminbird Helix 7 for my graph.
How
I
much
have the Hobie crate.
before you keep going? What the Humminbird? How much does that help you on
A
the?
lot, like tremendously. Like the side imaging, down imaging 2D, that stuff helps out so much.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude. When you were fishing, when I go out my kayak, I beat the banks. I beat the
Mhm.
banks, dude. It looked like you were. I remember you were fishing some islands,
Mhm.
and it looked like you were casting at nothing. So I figured you were relying on your sonar quite a bit to find what you did in order to catch the fish.
Yeah, my Humminbird side imaging and mapping helped me out big time. The mapping was really important. Like I was kind of just following contour lines.
Had you been to Lake Murray before?
Yeah, I've been down there the last 3 years before this year for the KBF tournaments because they were like the same weekend as this Bassmaster one was.
How did going down there before? So a lot of people, they say fishing memories, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it don't. Um, did you fishing it previously? Did that help you a lot, and how did it help you uh, during the tournament?
Yeah, it definitely helped a lot. I don't know if location was as important, but I really understood how those fish reacted and like where this fish wanted to be at this time of year.
Right. What were you throwing mainly?
I caught a lot on the 3/4 ounce chatterbait, the tactical bassin crankbait. Caught some on a 3/4 ounce swing head, and I caught one on a rock crawler, one on a DT10.
Okay.
So mostly all power fishing.
Okay. Tell me about this yo-yoing though. I'd seen the term yo-yoing used several times. You had learned. I can't remember what technique you said you had learned yo-yo and maybe a fluke or
Yeah, from fluke fishing back
were you-
home around here.
yeah. Okay. What was you yo-yoing? What was how would you explain that?
I was yo-yoing the chatterbait, and it's similar to just like yo-yoing a lipless. Like you pull it up, you don't need to pull it up crazy far. Like pull it up a couple feet, and then just give it slack, let it fall straight down, and it just creates a reaction strike. I think especially with the chatterbait, they aren't used to seeing that. Most guys are like grinding it into the bottom or popping it in the grass and stuff. I just don't think they see that bait yo-yo like that a lot.
Right. Yeah. How deep in water was you catching them?
The chatterbait fish was mostly like 7 to 8 feet, but the cranking fish were more like 9 to 10.
Okay. Me and John, we've kayak fished together a lot over the last. John, you're being really quiet.
Yeah, I just didn't want to interrupt you. You guys were back and forth.
But me and John, we've kayak fished a lot together. Me and him are so obviously you don't know. Me and him are brothers. We grew up together, and we kind of went our own ways, and then the outdoors kind of brought us back together. So we've done a lot of kayak fishing over the last few years, and watching fishing and everything. I like to power fish more than anything, but John is more of a like finesse fisherman, dude. He loves the Ned rig. Loves the Ned rig.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's his thing. So so moving on. So you were talking about, your fish finder setup. You got a Helix 7 on there. Do you see yourself? I've seen people with a buddy of mine just told me he's putting forward facing sonar on his John boat. Do you see you putting that on your kayak at some point?
I do have a forward-facing sonar setup. I have the Lowrance active target with the HDS Live 9. I experimented with it a lot last year. It's not as easy as those guys make it look in the Elite Series. Like it's pretty
I'm very
difficult. It's
happy.
a really eye-opening technology, but it's not easy. And being in the kayak, a lot of it would throw my balance off, and I never really felt 100% comfortable with it. But I do want to experiment more this year with it.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because most of the people that when I post something, it don't matter what it is, they always say, yeah, with a little minnow or a jig head and forward facing sonar, they wouldn't win anything. But you struggled. You're saying you kind of struggled with forward facing, and then you used your regular old Helix 7 with side imaging and got it done. So
Yeah. I had it last year when I went to Murray, and I felt like it was more of a distraction than a help than anything. Because so many times I'd be sitting there scanning around looking for fish instead of fishing. That's why this year I was like, I'm just gonna go down and just fish the way that I know how.
right. Yep, absolutely. Now, did when I was watching I watched your video on YouTube. You'd uploaded your tournament videos and stuff. Did it apply any pressure on day 2 when the Bassmaster boat showed up and was taking pictures?
Yeah, it definitely did. I mean, it was kind of surreal. I was just trying to focus on fishing as much as I could and not try and think about all the other stuff that was going on.
Right. Yeah.
But it was awesome, though. It was so awesome having Bassmaster taking the photos.
Oh, for sure. For sure, dude. Because at that point, like, holy cow, I'm going to be on. There's probably going to be an article or pictures about me on. Like you've made it when it comes to that,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey Jake, so fishing in these tournaments, obviously there's a lot goes into it. No doubt you were probably leading up to it thinking about the different patterns based on tournaments you fished there before. So, but kind of take us through like, it's a 2-day tournament. The kayak tournaments are, it's different because it's whoever has the total amount of inches, and it's just a lot different than fishing in a traditional, boat tournament, I guess you'd say. So what was your process as far as, did you have 2 or 3 practice days leading up to that? Did you have like plan A, plan B, plan C? In these kayak tournaments, you can take your kayak out of the water and launch it at any ramp, as far as unless the rules are different there. So what was your what was kind of that preparation and that process like for you to make sure that you were hitting the spots you wanted to hit, really fishing and kind of staying ahead of your other anglers when you took that lead?
Yeah, I had 2 days of practice. Oh my god. But my biggest goal for practice was really just to have as many good waypoints as I could find. Like, I mostly spent a lot of time just graphing, looking for good like rock piles or points, or maybe grass, and then maybe make a cast or two if I catch one, move on. But I felt really confident in that area because I've been down there the last 3 years, and I fished a lot of areas on Lake Marion, but I never felt as confident or comfortable as I did in that area. So this
Sure.
year I was like, I'm just gonna take my 2 practice days and dedicate it to that area, and really get to know as much as I could about that area and have as many waypoints as possible by the time the tournament came.
So I think probably the biggest difference in the kayak tournament is the inability to cover water. So when you say fishing that area, how big of an area is that? Is that, are you back in a bay somewhere? Are you fishing an arm of the lake? Because you can't just you know travel 30 miles up the lake and fish a different spot like a bass boat can, right? So you're limited. So how did you zone in on the area? How big of an area was it?
It was kind of like a bay, but it had a couple fingers coming in. It's hard to say exactly how big the area is. I would say probably a couple miles of area,
Do you know how
but
many miles you covered in a day?
in practice, I can only guess, but at least 10 miles of pedaling, I would say at least.
Yeah.
But during the tournament, I didn't have to move as much. I kind of just focused on a couple of the best areas that I found.
Yeah. So what if you're in a tournament like that and those areas don't work out the way you want? Maybe you're halfway through the first day and you see that you're just not getting the results you want. Um, do you paddle back? Do you have a plan B, C, D where you put it back on the trailer? You head to a different ramp, or are you just kind of you sticking to your guns there?
Well, I don't have a trailer. I car top, so it takes me a while to unpack
Oh yeah.
and then repack everything. So I don't really ever consider relaunching
Okay.
somewhere. I mean, maybe in the perfect situation for a tournament, I could do it, but I haven't ever really done that before. I haven't ever really considered that. If anything, I'd rather have another area that I can paddle to
Sure.
if things don't work out. You always got to have like a plan B, C, D, whatever, because usually things never work out the way you expect them to in the tournament.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I've when the reason I asked that is I've talked to a lot of anglers in the Hobie Opens, and that seems to be some of those top guys there and gals. Um, they are, man, they're ramp hopping, I guess is the best way to say it. Like they're moving because you can't, like I'll give you an example. Um, Maybe last year when one of the Open Series was at Lake Erie, the winner of that tournament drove his boat all the way to Lake St. Clair, which is a very long drive in a boat, especially if the water is moving at all. If there's any type of rollers there, but the kayak anglers don't have that luxury. You're kind of stuck. So that's just something I want to know how you process it. I think it's even more impressive of a win that you were able to pick out a spot, stay there, and I think you won. I think you won by like 4 inches overall.
Yeah, something like that, I
Yeah,
think.
something like that. Which is, I mean, you're like 4 inches, but that's pretty good. That's a pretty good margin between first and second. If you look at like second, third, fourth, fifth, they're pretty close, and then you're up there in the lead. So impressive job. Did you find the area based on where you fished before? Did you kind of look at Google Earth and some maps and some Navionics, or how did you find that area, the winning
Um,
area for you?
like that area in general, like that ramp, I've been fishing since 2021, and
Oh, nice.
yeah, I've always had confidence there. But I did spend a lot of time looking at my humminbird map
Sure.
to really understand the depths and the contour. Because the Humminbird map is phenomenal. That's the best one that I've used.
Yeah, a lot of guys use they'll have the Humminbird, the Lowrance, and the Garmin all pulled up. So you don't have that much space on. I guess you can put 2 good ones on the Hobie. I don't know, 3 might be too much. I'm sure somebody's doing it. PK has ask about how the white bass are doing now in Kentucky. Still early. It's been a warm 2 days, so the water temperature should have risen some the last couple of days. But it's still, I would say you're looking at like beginning of May. And are we allowed to spearfish in Kentucky? I don't think so. I mean, you can bow fish in Kentucky, so I don't know. That's the question.
Benches with fur and feathers said the white bass are starting to run on Nolan.
Nolan, right? Like, yeah, but it's it's inconsistent.
It's not like the rivers.
Yeah, it's got to get up. It's got to get up to. Well, they're running in the rivers. It'll be Nolan River, but it's just not like when the run hits. You can go down there and just get your limit in no time. So it's not like that. But
yeah, I tried to find something while you were talking just now. I was trying to find something on
go for it.
Spear fishing. The only thing I could find, it says only rough fish may be taken and the appropriate fishing license is required. The daily limit is 15 fish, of which only 5 may be catfish. So I would verify that in the regulations and all that good stuff. So honestly, I'm not sure. I'm just telling you what I read off of one of the websites I've seen. And as John said earlier, and we were talking about football, he said, "Man, you said 2 things today where your sources are not reliable." So
3. It was 3 actually.
3. So go ahead.
Josh is a big Jake. Do you like any sports other than fishing?
Oh yeah, I love football. I'm a big Redskins
Are you Eagles fan?
No.
Don't say it.
What are you?
I'm a Redskins fan.
Redskins. Okay, yeah. I've known some people from Jersey. You're from New Jersey, correct? You said that.
Yeah.
Everyone I've known from Jersey have all been Eagles fans.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of them around for sure.
Yeah. So, but Josh has, he's a Cincinnati Bengals fan. We're down here in Kentucky, and he has been believing all these fake stories coming out about players coming to Cincinnati. I mean, like someone said Joe Burrow's girlfriend worked at Kroger and had talked, and I'm like, dude, come on. Like, you're just grasping here. Like, you got to get with it now. So,
because I'm hopeful, man. The Bengals finally have had some good years, and I don't want them to go back into the losing mentality. I want them to keep winning. I want them to keep doing good because my entire life they have sucked. They've been awful. So I'd like
Jake,
to.
are you pretty involved in your local tournaments up there?
Yeah, I do. We have 3 kayak clubs here. We have a North, a Mid, and a South Jersey club. And I'm in all the clubs, and I do as many as I can, as long as it doesn't conflict with like some of the national trails that I do.
Sure. Any coastal fishing?
Yeah. I mean, I never have taken my kayak out into the ocean yet, but I'll go into the bay and chase some stripers and flounder.
Yeah, that's
and
fun.
Bluefish and those ones. It's real fun.
Yeah. Would you prefer to do that than catch bass, or are you just a bass addict?
I wouldn't say I prefer to catch anything besides bass. I mean, bass are definitely the best, but it is fun to change it up once in a while.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Did you ever, with your forward facing, when you was using would you say a Lowrance active target?
Mm-hmm.
So when you were using that, did you ever dabble into the forward facing sonar? I think it's called hovering, is what it's called, like the hovering technique.
Very briefly, I tried it. Yeah. I can't say I was nothing. I wasn't ever crushing them on it. I had a lot of frustrating days throwing a glide bait, watching the biggest fish in the lake just rise up and then go back down, not biting it.
And what I thought was pretty cool, man, is your camera and your videos is right behind you, and you can tell you're extremely organized with all your stuff because, you had your fish finder up front. I remember you retied something on. I think you just reached right in the back, grabbed it, tied something on, and then you what I thought was cool, you'd hook a fish, and when you would get it in, dude, the way you would, like your net was to your right or left side, you would just grab it, swoop it up real quick, and you were good. It was like super simple. How long did it take you to get like that routine of catching a fish down, so you know you're getting it in the kayak quick and you're not losing it?
Years. It takes a while, but I feel like my kayak is almost like a second part of my body when I'm out on the water at this point, because I have so much time out there. Like, I always know what I can and can't do, like what waves I can handle, what current I can handle. The biggest thing with the net is knowing, don't go for the net until you know you can net them. Like, I never want to be sitting there holding the net and trying to fight the fish at the same time. I always try and wait till I know I got them where I can net them, and then grab the net and net them right away. Because I see a lot of guys losing fish right at the net, especially
Yeah.
it'll come up and jump. And I try as hard as I can to not do that, especially in a tournament.
Yeah, and I also was going to ask you about how many rods do you take? Like on my kayak, I just have a Pelican Enforcer. It's nothing fancy. I built a crate on the back and put some like PVC pipe to hold some of my rods. And the max I take 3 casting rods, and I take 2 spinning rods. What's your rod lineup look like when you go out?
I have the Hobie crate, and I added 6 extra rod holders on there, so I could bring 10 if I really wanted to, but normally I'll bring between 6 and 8. Maybe if it's practice, I'll bring 10. But a lot of times, by the time the tournament comes, I try to focus on like 6 to 8.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good number.
What you
So-
know they're kind of hitting.
Do you live on campus there where you work?
No.
Okay. I thought maybe you did. How do you store your Hobie?
Nothing fancy, honestly. I kind of just put it under a tarp out back. I
Okay.
don't really have a
Yeah.
garage or anything to put it in.
Well, I mean, you're 26, you're young, so I figured you weren't, you didn't have some big fancy garage or anything. I mean, mine's in my garage, but I've got stuff laying on top of it, and it takes up like the whole middle area of it. So, yeah, I wonder because I hope. I mean, you got a big kayak, right? So, do you have? You said you put it on top of your car,
Yeah.
correct? Do you have the I would call it a dolly, like the wheel? Like, do you wheel it down to the ramp? Do you pull up and take it off? How do you do that?
Yeah, I have the Hobie wheels. It depends. Some lakes, like if it's a good enough ramp, I can just back down and just drop the kayak right there, and that's a lot easier. But
Yeah.
certain lakes, or especially if it's a tournament and the ramp's real packed, I'll just kind of pull off to the side, put it on the wheels, load up everything, wheel it down, drop it in the water, and then bring the wheels back to the car.
Yeah, I know you're competing against guys that are twice your age. They've poured a ton of money into this, and they have fancy trailers, and they have all this that feels a little extra special to kind of like you wrote in their face. You just throw your Hobie on top of your car, drop it, and you beat them. It's fun. Makes it fun.
Do you have like the kayak rack on top of your car?
I have a roof rack that came with my car. I don't have
Yeah,
like
there you
a
go.
specialty rack.
Do you have
I
a
mean,
Subaru?
it works fine. So
Do you drive a Subaru?
no, I have a Ford Expedition.
I saw a Subaru sticker on your kayak. I thought maybe.
Oh, they used to sponsor. I used to be on a KFL team, and they were one of our
Gotcha.
sponsors.
Okay. I thought maybe you bought the Subaru, slapped the sticker on there. Subaru, great kayak car. That'd be a great car. Yeah.
Everything I've heard about Subaru is great. Great.
Well,
in
they have the
snow,
racks
too.
on top. I saw the sticker. You said rack on top. I thought maybe that was a while.
I was curious about if you had like the rack on top of your car, because I bought my first truck. It's been 3 years now, 3 years ago, and actually 3 years yesterday. But since I was like 16, my dad bought me a Chevy Cobalt, and that's what I drove in. The Army. I went to Fort Bragg, and then I got my first kayak, and I bought this system. You probably didn't know what I'm talking about. It's literally 2 styrofoam like rectangle blocks is what it is. I put one at the front, one at the back, I'd slide my kayak up on top, and then I would strap it down through my windows and around the kayak to my dude. I would drive like 3 hours to go fishing in that thing. Dude,
You
it was
just, you just brought back memories. My first girlfriend had a Chevy Cobalt.
Hey, here's the thing though. Josh could never get his kayak just right to where the straps that he had it on, he could just never get them right to where the wind would just kind of move over it smoothly. So every time he would drive wherever he was fishing, it made the worst noise imaginable.
Dude, I would call him. It was so loud.
The whole way.
I couldn't hear music, podcast, nothing. It was miserable. And I would call John, and it would just be like, whoa.
The whole time.
The whole time, dude.
I know the sound that's the worst. Like when the wind just catches it perfectly and it's just,
Yeah,
the whole
man.
time.
Listen, Matt, just a tremendous respect for people who are really dedicated to kayak fishing because it's not easy. Like I have a bass boat and I have a kayak, and I like them the same because I can do different things in each. Like there's places I want to take my kayak, I could never take my bass boat, and vice versa. And man, it's so much easier to pull up to the ramp, launch the bass boat, pull out, and go park than it is to get the kayak. And I even have a truck. I can just put my kayak in the back with a bed extender, but still taking the kayak out, rolling it down to the ramp, because you don't want to take up the space on the ramp either, right? When their boats are launching that, if you really want to piss someone off, take 20 minutes to launch your kayak while a bass boat is waiting on you. Like that is a way to make someone mad. So
the truck does make it pretty fast though when you get like a routine down. Because dude, I don't care.
But there's some guys though, man, that just they take forever to launch their kayak. There's some guys. Listen, the very first time I launched my bass boat, I'm not exaggerating. The first time I launched it by myself, it was like 6 o'clock in the morning, pitch black dark, and I pull up to the boat ramp, and there's lights everywhere. It's like I'm at an NFL football game. There's probably 60 boats getting ready to launch, and I get stuck in the middle of the launch. First time I've ever launched my bass boat by myself, and they're not very patient. So it was nerve wracking, man.
That was
I did it.
Go ahead.
I launched it. As I was going to the boat, there was an old man giving me advice and feedback on what I need to do better. As I was coming back, there's a guy like, hey, you shouldn't be doing this and that. So I was like, hey, man, thanks. And I went and parked my truck and left. But the boat ramp is a place that, things can go wrong quick and people can get mad quickly. So you got to be on your stuff.
Somebody said something to you when you were doing it?
Very nice. Like they were nice about it. Like they were just like, yeah, next time do this. One guy. And then I had left my driver's door open when I went down to like tie my boat up, and they're like, "Hey, you don't need to leave your door open. You need to shut your door next time." I still don't know why, but yeah, it just it was nerve wracking, man.
Yeah, dude. You know how I am. I would have lost it. I would have lost it on that guy. I wouldn't be able to help it because, dude, like Sunday I went to the shear, and when I showed up, there was a ton of people loading and unloading. And one guy pulled up, and I was next, so I pulled right down the ramp, and I was putting in, and he just waited on me because, dude, the way I see it, I have a right to that ramp just like they do.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah.
But I'll tell you this, I was fishing probably 3 years ago, and I was getting ready to go. I went back to the ramp to go home. It was in the summer. It was probably like 6 o'clock, and there's people on jet skis and everything there. Well, this boat ramp had 2 lanes, and it had the concrete barrier in between, so you had to stay in your lane. And once you're in there, you can't move, you can't get out. You have to, put your boat on your trailer and go. There's a 1960 pontoon boat that was not working. The motor wasn't working, and you had this family of like 7. They was launching it with one of those big Astro vans. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. It's not a minivan. It's like a 1998 big Astro van, like a tall, bulky Astro van. You'll have to Google it. And there were literally probably 30 boats / jet skis just sitting out in the water waiting on this one boat to get out of there. And finally, we all started clearing out because the one side of the ramp was still working. And it was at least 45 minutes. I just sat in the water. Like, I even contemplated, like, should I just go fish for another hour? But people were so mad, and they'd been drinking all day and just, like Scott just said, I've seen fights at boat launches. Absolutely, man. Like, you get out there between Memorial Day and Labor Day, boat ramps are insane.
Yeah.
Not my favorite place.
I'll tell you something in Western Kentucky we deal with a lot too is we got some small lakes that I fish. They're like 80, 90 acres, and they've got massive fish in them. So I love to go fish them. And the Amish, we got a lot of Amish folk around here, and they'll show up, dude. They'll pull a trailer behind them driving a tractor, and they'll pull into the ramp at those lakes is just made for one boat. Dude, they'll pull in and they'll pull out 8 kayaks for their whole family and dude, it takes them forever. But they have from like 3 to 30 years old getting in these kayaks. So I like it because at least they're getting them out and fishing and stuff.
Sure.
I think that's great because I take Nathan every chance I get, my son.
Hey Jake, we got about 8 minutes left here. We won't keep you past that. If you're going, we'll get back to fishing here. Then I got a question about New Jersey. If you're going on your ideal bass fishing trip, let's just say you're going to take 3. Let's say 4. We'll say 4 because you said you added 6. So let's say 4 rods and reels. The perfect bass fishing trip. What do you have tied on those 4?
I mean, you're saying that they're gonna bite whatever 4 I tie on?
I'm saying the 4 that you want to fish the most. Like, you're not going to put 4 different jigs, right? You're not going to do 4 chatterbaits. Like, you're going to mix it up. So what's 4 that you would, if you had your choices and you're like, you know what, I just want to take these 4. What would you take?
I love throwing the buzzbait. That would probably be number 1. I love the buzzbait bite. The jig would probably be number 2. I love just sticking them on the jig. There's nothing
football
like
jig.
that.
What kind of jig?
If I had to pick one, probably a ball head jig.
Okay, so you mentioned tactical bassing. Is it going to be one of those dirty jigs that they like?
I tie my own jigs. I use the Boss jig heads, and I just tie them myself.
Oh, nice.
It saves a lot of money.
Yeah, even better. Yeah, good deal. All right, so you got a buzzbait and a ball head jig. What else?
Glide bait is always fun to throw. It's really fun to throw. It doesn't work every day, but it's a really fun bait to throw.
What size? What brand and what size?
If I could pick one, honestly, even with all the ones that I have, I'd probably pick a S-Waver. I don't know why, they just love that S-Waver. It looks kind of weird, but
what's the price? What's the price on an S-Waver?
$20 maybe, about there.
Okay, yeah, I was thinking 30. So that's right. I've never bought one. I know what you're talking about, but I've never bought one.
Yeah, you
know why? Because if I bought one, I would be afraid to cast it because I wouldn't want to lose it at $20. I do have one big glide bait. It's a Rapala. I don't know. I bought it just because one of the pros was using it, and literally, it was like a $40 one. I got it on sale. I've probably only cast it 3 times. Anyway, all right, 4th one. So you said buzz bait. You said ball headed jig. You said a glide bait. What's the 4th one you going with?
I mean, that would be tough, but probably it's tough between a crankbait and chatterbait, but I would probably pick some type of crankbait.
Yeah.
It depends on the lake, like maybe a deep crank or a square bill or a flat side at this time of year.
Well, you just named all of them, so.
I think that is the first list I've heard in a long time that didn't include a jackhammer.
Yeah, well, he said his 4th one was maybe a chatter. I figured the 4th one would be a chatterbait.
I like that list because, as much as I've fished since I was younger, I've never caught a buzzbait fish ever, and I've never caught one on a glide bait. Now, crankbaits, jerkbaits, chatterbaits, all that, caught a ton of fish, but I've used a buzz bait before, didn't have any luck, but I've never tied a glide bait on. Never even
Oh,
tied.
you gotta try that buzzbait, man. There's something when it's the time for it. There's something magical about it. I don't even know what it is,
Yeah.
but they will just come unglued for that thing. Big ones too.
Yeah, for the longest time, I always used, because I grew up fishing. I did a lot of wade fishing, so fished in the creeks for smallmouth and stuff like that. And I used a fluke a lot. And the reason I like the fluke is because you could use it as top water if you want. You could fish, like swim it or walk it across the top. So I loved walking baits for the longest time. And then I think it was Jason Kenner, one of our buddies. He went down to Chickamauga and had like a great tournament with a frog. And watching him catch them with the frog just looked awesome. So I tried forever to catch one with a frog. Could not get one to bite. And finally we went and
Hey, I gotta take a phone call quick.
Okay, go ahead. And when that fish hit that frog, dude, it was explosive. It was insane.
The frog is a real fun one too. That's another one where you can just jack and swing as hard as you can.
Yeah,
But
go ahead.
a lot of our lakes, like where I live, it's not the best for it. But there's some lakes where there's a time of year where that frog is the deal.
Oh yeah, for sure, 100%. I've just not had a lot of luck on it, but I think one reason is I just don't throw it a lot. I like the idea of I'm more of like a feel person instead of a visual person. Like when I use this like a spinning rod, I've got like bright yellow line so I can see my line good and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when it's moving or they just tap it or something like that. But I'm like you said, dude. A couple years ago I went up to Kentucky Lake with a buddy fishing a tournament, and we were flipping buckbrush with 22-pound shooter, and just with a big Z crawl, and man, jacking those fish like that up out of the buckbrush, dude, it is addicting. So jigs, just a flipping setup with like a 3/0 trocar hook, dude, with a 1/2 ounce weight. That's my type of fishing. I love that kind of fishing.
Oh yeah, me too. I love that flipping a D-bomb into some lily pads. We don't have a lot of buckbrush like that, but I've always wanted to fish something like that.
Yeah.
I went to Kentucky Lake 2 years ago, I think, for the KBF National Championship, but we went in the fall, so I don't think that buckbrush bite was there.
Yeah, it's more of the TVA, it's all controlled by the Army Corps of Engineers. All the water levels are, and it's like that year we fished that tournament and they were spawning. It was in the spring, so they were up in that buckbrush. A lot of them were deep in it, garden nests or beds. Dude, we went back the next weekend and all that buckbrush was out. Like the water levels had went down and all the beds were out of the water. So
man.
I think it really took a toll on the spawn that year, big time. Yeah. So, but yeah, man, what just kind of some off the wall questions. When I fish, I do not eat usually. I don't. I will fish from if I fish from daylight to dark, I'll take a break and I'll eat I'll take MREs a lot of times. But what would you say if you're fishing? What is your favorite snack to keep on the kayak?
I'm the same way. Like I don't like to eat like a full meal out there either, but I do love bringing like some beef jerky or pistachios or almonds or peanuts. Like sometimes some candy, especially if I think it's gonna be a tough day. I might bring like some nerds or like some mambas, like some type of gummy candy.
Yeah. I would be almost willing to bet when you were fishing Lake Murray, though, I bet you didn't eat.
No, I would if I was paddling like crossing the lake. I might eat I had some pistachios and some crackers with me, so I would eat those just to kind of like keep my stomach from rumbling. But
Right.
I did not eat much in those 2 days. Maybe 2 packs of crackers and 2 packs of pistachios.
Oh, for sure.
Scott Butler just said, "Hard to poop off a kayak." I bet.
Yeah,
Scott's a character, man.
Just
He's
don't
always
do it. You listen. There's nothing I hate worse when I take someone fishing with me on my boat and they have to use the bathroom every hour. Drives me nuts.
yeah.
that's when you need
To be
those
honest with
dude wipes.
you,
There
dude,
you
wow.
go.
Hey, so I heard
That's a good
you
sponsorship.
said Gerald Swindle earlier with the ball head jigs. Then you just mentioned dude wipes. Are you a big Gerald Swindle guy? You like
Oh
Gerald?
yeah, I don't know how you couldn't be a big Gerald Swindle
There
guy.
you
I
go.
mean, he's awesome.
Well, now
He's
look,
the most honest person.
my favorite angler, who is also a very honest person and is a New Jerseyan, Mike Iaconelli.
Oh yeah.
He's from up your way. He's from New Jersey, but I think he claims Philly as like his city. So, hey, New Jersey, we're not just fishermen, we're also hunters. New Jersey has a big black bear problem. You see those a lot up there?
I don't see him a lot down in South Jersey, but I've heard there's a lot up in North Jersey.
It's a big problem. Yes, it's a very big problem. So, anyway, I want to ask that. I want to ask about Iaconelli. I want to ask about
Are you
about
Are you an Iaconelli fan?
Oh yeah, I'm a huge Ike fan. You have to be around here. I mean, he's a legend around here.
Yeah,
yeah.
I love him, man.
Everybody knows. Even if you aren't a fisherman, you know Mike Iaconelli around here.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I posted a photo the other day, and it was Mike when he had caught like a 7-pounder on Lake Fork years ago, and it's whenever, and you may have seen the video. He got in the camera. He was so excited. He like got in the lens and was screaming. Like all you could see was his mouth on the lens, and it completely fogs up. And like 10 seconds later, you just see the cameraman's hand come up front, and he wipes it off. And I posted it, and dude, so there was so many people was like, we don't want to hear him. We don't want to hear him yell. I'd kick him off my boat. And I'm thinking, if you kicked Iaconelli off your boat, you're the dumbest person alive. Like,
Yeah, he's my
Oh
favorite.
yeah.
I learned so much from that guy. So much.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's a book of knowledge. I mean, I learned so much from him growing up watching City Limits Fishing
Yeah,
and Going Ike and all this. City Limits Fishing was like my favorite show ever.
No,
Yeah.
did you fish it? I know he fished I think it was a Hobie Series event up in Pennsylvania, maybe. I think. Did you
He
ever?
was at the Winnipesaukee Hobie. I was at that one. I remember
There
seeing
we
him
go.
there.
Yeah. Did you fish that tournament?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I
I
did
love
good
that.
on day one and then stumbled on day two. I made a couple mistakes. I have that on my YouTube too.
Were you ahead of him in day one? That's he fishes those. He's fished a few of them, but he's never won. So that's man, it would be great to be like, yeah, Bassmaster Classic winner, thinks he can hop in a kayak and just come in here and win, and we beat him. So that would be I'm sure he's a little trash talker too. So you could probably talk a little smack to him, but
Yeah.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, we went down to the Classic in Knoxville last year, and no, it wasn't Knoxville. I'm sorry. It was
100% Knoxville,
was it Knoxville?
Tennessee River, yes.
Okay. Well, we went over to the expo, and Mike had just got back to Bassmaster and was fishing. He was fishing the Elite Series, but he didn't qualify for the Classic. And he's working the booths and everything over there. And we talked. No, it wasn't last year either. It wasn't. It was like Hartwell. It was because we
Okay.
didn't get to talk to him. So when we were leaving, we were driving over to the weigh-ins to get our interview the anglers after they come off the stage and everything and talk with them. And as we're leaving, Mike literally probably walked out 30 seconds before us, and Mike Iaconelli had to pay for parking just like we did. He was parked right across from us, and he had like his Hobie up on top, the whole shark mouth and his decked out Toyota. And I told John, I said, we ought to go up and talk to him. He was like, dude, we don't want to look like fanboys. We're the guys interviewing him, So I thought that was pretty cool.
No, last year at Knoxville, we did talk to him at the expo.
He's a down to earth dude. He really is.
Yeah, I see him at lakes around here all the time, but I'm just like you. I don't want to go up and bother him and be the fanboy, like especially if he's fishing. Like I don't know, I just don't want to bother him.
Yeah, that's kind of how we feel too, because they're especially when they're working or they're fishing, like they're already exhausted, so it's like they don't want to talk to me.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't want 20 people running up to me as I was trying to fish a
Right.
spot, so I can understand.
Well, Jake, it is after 9. Before we go, I would
Not for me and Jake. It's after 10.
kind of
Yeah,
for you
over here
all.
on the East Coast.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I'm in
Jake's
Central
tired,
Time.
man.
Kind of just tell everybody where they can find your social media and everything. I know you're building your YouTube page and everything, which I really think is great. I watched some of your videos. You're doing a really good job with that. So just tell everybody where they can find you at.
Oh, thank you, man. And yeah, I'm Jake Coucoules on Facebook, just my name. And then on Facebook or on Instagram and YouTube, it's JC underscore fishing WRLD. Like it's World like Juice World.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Excellent.
You said, what was it? JC underscore fishing WRLD?
Yes.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and put a lot more content out this year. Especially like fun fishing stuff, because a lot of times I go fun fishing, I don't bring my GoPro, but I'm gonna start doing that more this year.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what people like to see, because that's what they do that too. So
you do all your own editing and everything.
Yeah,
What do you
I've
use?
been learning.
What software do you use?
Splice.
Say again.
Splice.
Oh, Splice. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I enjoy it, man. When I go out and fishing, I've not done it well, it's been over a year now. I just kind of took a break from fishing for a bit, but I used to every trip, man. I'd take my GoPros, I have my phone ready, and I recorded everything, man. Everything. I think it's a lot of fun. Even the editing part, I love doing it. Love it.
Yeah, I think you learn a lot about yourself fishing from watching it too sometimes.
You do. Absolutely, you do. Absolutely. Well, Jake, I appreciate you coming on tonight, man. Is there anything else you want to plug before you get off?
No, I think that's it. Yeah, just gotta go to bed now and get ready to go to work at 5 tomorrow.
Right.
see, man, I knew Josh was keeping you late. I knew you was getting tired. I gotta be up
No
early.
problem.
We appreciate
Jake,
you tonight.
Jake, we appreciate you, man, and happy for you that you got the cash check done there, and hope to see you do it again.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Hopefully, I'll be doing good at Gunnersville and I can come back on.
That'd be great, man. We love it. So,
Oh yeah, love it.
all right, guys. Well, we'll let you go. Thanks for joining us. Tuesday night, we'll be back with our hunting show. Jake, you have to check it out if you're up. If that on Tuesday nights, you could just be a fan. You could get off anytime you want. We won't keep you late. So, but we appreciate you, buddy. And hey, share this with a friend. Let people know we're doing this fishing show, and we'll keep getting better at it and keep growing the page. We appreciate you guys. Have a good night.
See you guys.
Thank you, guys.